Some news just out on Tesla. The U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has opened a probe of Tesla's autopilot function.
Hey, I'm Steven and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So as per the title of today's video, Tesla stock has crashed almost 5% in a single day on the back of a baseless safety investigation. An alternative title for today's video could simply have been why the stock market is really dumb. So in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to some of the coverage of this investigation in the mainstream finance media. And I'm also going to debunk some of the FUD and the misinformation being spread. So with that said, let's get into the video. If you love crypto, stocks, and free stuff, or just want to help out the channel, check out these great offers. BlockFi are launching the world's first Bitcoin rewards credit card. People in the US can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase with no annual fee using the BlockFi Bitcoin rewards credit card. Check out the link in the description. And for a limited time, you can get up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, where you can use cryptocurrency to earn interest, borrow cash, and buy or sell crypto. If you want your free crypto, use the link in the description. And if you'd like up to 2 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 1 free stock valued up to $300 just for opening an account. And if you make an initial deposit of $5 or more, you'll get a second free stock valued up to $2,000. Seriously. Free stocks? Yes, please. And finally, if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake, also linked in the description. Thanks so much for your support, guys. Let's get back to it.
Hey, Carl, this is what a lot of people have been calling for some time. And as you take a look at shares of Tesla, you see they're under a little bit of pressure, not extreme pressure, but a little bit of pressure after the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration announced that it will be opening a formal investigation looking into Tesla's autopilot technology. What will NHTSA be looking at? Well, specifically, it will be looking at 11 crashes where Tesla vehicles were in autopilot mode and they crashed into emergency vehicles. Those crashes led to 17 injuries, 1 fatality. This will involve the models S, X, Y, and 3, 765,000 vehicles, basically everything Tesla has made from 2014 through 2021.
Okay, we need to take a quick break here now. It is true that most people are both lazy and stupid, especially when it comes to understanding numbers, statistics, and probability, which may explain why I'm currently living under a fascist regime here in Sydney, Australia. Don't get me started. But we need to do the numbers here to try to ascertain exactly what's going on. You see this right here? This is called a calculator, something that very few people are willing to use even when it's actually important. Shout out to Tesla stock being down about 5% after this investigation was announced. Let's do some numbers here. 11 incidents out of 765,000 vehicles sold, I believe, in the United States. So let's do the numbers here. That equates to an incident in every 0.001437908496732% of Teslas on roads. Another way we can look at this, that's 1 incident per 69,554 Tesla vehicles on roads. Here we are looking at Tesla's 2020 impact report. No pun intended. See what I did there? Because impact, yeah, that was pretty bad. Anyway, let's read. In 2020, a Tesla vehicle with autopilot engaged in the US experienced just 0.2 accidents per million miles driven, while the US average was around 9 times higher at 2.0 accidents per million miles driven. Even in cases where only active safety features were engaged, our vehicles had around a 4.5 times lower collision rate than the US average in 2020. We can see this drawn out visually in the graph below. Tesla's autopilot engaged, number of incidents per million miles traveled with active safety features only, and even without any active safety features whatsoever, much lower than the US national average. So once again, I want to point out that the stock market is really fucking dumb. This is non-news. This is a non-event. Of course, it's plastered all over the mainstream finance media, attracting headlines, fear, uncertainty, doubt, investigation. Just the term investigation sounds bad, but investigation doesn't actually determine anything. It's like, we're going to look into this. Spoiler alert, when NHTSA actually looks into this, you know what they're going to find? Teslas are like the safest vehicles on the road, bar none. There's no problem with autopilot system, and in every one of these cases, drivers weren't paying attention.
Altogether, NHTSA has reports of 31 incidents involving autopilot technology. That includes these 11, and there have been others as well. But for this investigation, it'll only be focused on the 11 crashes. By the way, those go back to 2018, those crashes. As you once again take a look at Tesla over the last 5 years, as this stock has moved higher, Elon Musk has repeatedly defended autopilot, even as critics have said, look, there are not enough safeguards in here. It's camera-based only. It doesn't use LiDAR technology.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. LiDAR is necessary to be able to drive a vehicle safely. That's why human beings all come with our own built-in LiDAR system, right?
It allows drivers to think that the car is completely self-driving when it's not.
Phil, CNBS, you guys are walking a very fine line when it comes to libel. That is complete and utter bullshit. This system doesn't allow people to think it's fully autonomous, that it can drive the vehicle. Tesla explicitly states otherwise. Let's move on.
Elon Musk has at times said, yes, it's not completely self-driving. At the same time, he has also sold the perception, if you will, that autopilot is essentially the way for you to get in your car, and your car is going to take you from point A to point B.
Neither Elon Musk or Tesla have said any such things about the capability of this software. This is insane. The gall of CNBS to be blatantly lying about what Elon Musk and Tesla have said this software is capable of doing is incredible. I mean, seriously, if Tesla didn't have better shit to do, a lawsuit would be coming the way of CNBS. This is incredible. Outright lies about Tesla and what they've told the general public their software is capable of doing.
We'll see what happens here with the NHTSA investigation. Just a reminder, Jim, the way this works, NHTSA investigates. If they find there's a flaw with the technology, they go to an automaker and they say, you should recall this technology or come up with a solution. If the automaker says, no, we're not going to do that, then NHTSA goes to court to force a recall. But we're a long ways from that happening. We still need to see exactly what happens with this formal investigation.
Well, Phil, I think that's a great report, but it made me think, are those really bad numbers? I mean, over a long period of time, I think it's very few.
Round of applause here for Jim all over the place Kramer, deploying some intellectual rigor, actually engaging his brain and thinking before speaking and realizing, hang on, idiots, 11 incidents per 765,000 Teslas. That's actually really good, you fucking idiots. Why are we reporting on this like it's bad?
And then I question, let's say drunk driver versus sober driver. How many people would a drunk driver have killed? So I don't know. I mean, I think it sounds like a pretty good. Anybody gets a crash is all bad, but that's a very few number, isn't it, Phil?
Well, it depends on how you look at it, Jim.
Spot on there from Phil. It really does depend on how you look at it. Really depends on whether or not your brain is functioning while you're looking at the data or not.
Some people would look at this and they would say there are 31 incidents, 11 crashes in this investigation, 31 altogether that NHTSA has acknowledged. So the question becomes, are those the only ones that we know about? And the other question becomes, is the technology being marketed and sold to the public in a fashion that makes them think their vehicle is completely self-driving? Because it's not. It is not self-driving technology. And so that's the question, Carl. And ultimately, we'll see if anything comes of this. By the way, we have yet to hear from Elon Musk. Remember, they disbanded their media relations department. And a few reporters already tweeted at Elon saying, Elon, do you have anything to say about this investigation? We'll see what he has to say.
Hate to be so blunt here, but let's be honest. Elon Musk has better things to do than explain to idiots that they're idiots and they don't know how to use a calculator.
Just quickly turn to Tesla, which is on pace for its worst day since June. The shares are now down 5%. U.S. auto safety regulators have just opened a formal investigation into what sometimes is called autopilot, the company's driver assistance system. Phil LeBeau is here with the latest details. Phil, the shares keep moving lower throughout the day.
Well, it's a significant investigation, Kelly. Now, who knows what ultimately will be determined by the regulators after they investigate these crashes. But here's what the investigation will be looking at. We're talking about 11 Tesla crashes where they crashed into emergency vehicles when they were in autopilot or in what they basically call their driver cruise control system. 17 injuries, 1 fatality. The models covering this probe, the S, the X, the Y, the 3, basically all the Tesla models from 2014 through 2021. Altogether, there are 765,000 Tesla models that are covered by this investigation. The crashes that are in focus, this is one of them. This was in California in 2018. And another in Michigan. This was, I think, last year. And then you've also got one that was in Connecticut. In each of these cases, what the investigators are going to be focused on is, did the drivers follow the system, or was the system not functioning properly, or were the drivers falsely believing that the system was working? A lot of questions that need to be answered. NHTSA out with a statement today when we reached out to them saying, NHTSA reminds the public that no commercially available motor vehicles today are capable of driving themselves. Every available vehicle requires a human driver to be in control at all times, and all state laws hold human drivers responsible for operation of their vehicles. For Elon Musk, he's been defending autopilot for some time. There have been critics who have said, oh, look, this is a system that tells people they can fall asleep, take their hands off the wheel, do all kinds of other stuff, but pay attention. We should point out, Tesla is explicit in its language to drivers saying, you must be in control of the vehicle. You must pay attention.
An interesting change of tune here from Phil LeBeau. This segment occurring later in the day. The earlier segment that we saw there, Phil LeBeau making ridiculous false claims about Tesla, Elon Musk, and what they've told drivers the software is capable of doing. Now throwing in the caveat there that Tesla is very explicit in their instructions and the language around what this can and can't do. I wonder if Phil or some of the CNBS producers got a massive slap on the wrist.
That said, a lot of people sit there and they say, well, look, the system sort of suggests that you don't have to pay attention. So that's one of the questions that will have to be answered. By the way, the Model 3 and the Model Y, they now have cameras, Kelly, so that they can monitor the driver and then alert the driver if they are not paying attention or if they do something crazy or stupid where they're looking away for an extended period of time.
Now, let's talk a little bit more about these 11 autopilot incidents. As per Tesla's instructions, autopilot isn't fully autonomous software. The driver must monitor and pay attention and be ready to take over at all times. So hypothetically speaking, if you're actually paying attention while you're driving, what are the odds that you're going to run into, say, a parked emergency vehicle on the side of the road? Whether or not autopilot is engaged doesn't matter, right? Because you're paying attention, right? How likely is it that you're actually going to crash into a stationary vehicle if you're paying attention? Hopefully some of you folks can see where I'm going with this. Let me tell you how this NHTSA investigation is going to play out. Yeah, that's right, I'm from the future. I already know how the investigation will conclude. The investigation will find that in every one of these cases, the driver was distracted and or not paying attention, and that is why there was an accident. They weren't using the software as intended and as explicitly instructed by Tesla, and this of course will turn out to be non-news. There aren't any safety issues with autopilot, and in fact the investigation is likely to also state that Teslas are among the safest vehicles they've ever investigated for any incident ever, period. And this is why I once again point out how incredibly fucking stupid the stock market is. Tesla's market cap down over $30 billion as a direct result of this investigation, which is absolutely non-news.
We're watching shares of Tesla right now. What should people who are Tesla fans consider as this investigation is now official, Dan?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is definitely a bit of a black eye. And I think it formalizes some of the concerns there have been on self-driving. I think, Tesla was never going to get there without some of these, unfortunate issues. I think from an investor perspective, especially given it's the gold standard from a technology perspective, this formal investigation definitely takes a bit of the bloom off the rose when it comes to FSD.
Dan, this is Emily McCormick. We're seeing Tesla shares down about 4% as we speak. This is certainly not the first safety concern raised about Tesla's autopilot system. And in the past, the stock has been able to shake off these concerns in the near to medium term. So is this time and this probe different than these times past?
Well, I think this is really the buildup. I mean, we've seen it in China. Now we've seen it in the U.S. And I think investors are starting to get more concerned around the scale and scope of this investigation, because it's been something that we've seen, the last year or two, from some of these high profile crashes. Now, in terms of the stock, is it affecting demand in the near term? No. But when you look at the big technology difference that Tesla has over others, even when we think about GM and others that are going after the market, it's FSD. So FSD, full self-driving, is a big piece of the future sort of holy grail. And this is definitely a step back. And now Tesla and Musk need to navigate this to make sure they get into the other side successfully. And I think that's really right now a bit of the uncertainty that you're seeing in the stock.
And yet the defense Tesla keeps saying is, look, you're not supposed to use this for kind of autonomous driving. You have to be awake and have your hands by the wheel. Is this perhaps a greater threat to the whole industry of autonomous vehicles? I mean, UPS has been testing autonomous driven trucks for delivery, and they've had successful runs from city to other city. Is this going to push everything back simply because it's an investigation of Tesla?
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily pushes things back. but I think it does show the clear hurdles and pitfalls if not used correctly in terms of full self-driving. And I can tell you something that's focused on the industry for years. The technology advancements that have been made are eye-popping, not just on consumer side, but even when it comes to long-haul trucking. But I think what this just shows is that, there's going to be regulatory and safety issues that need to be a focus. And before we can get onto the other side, these needs to be resolved for the safety of any consumers that use the actual vehicles. But like you said, I think Tesla is going to fight this in terms of, at least what their defense is.
And then in terms of the timing of the announcement of this probe, this, of course, came just a couple of days before AI Day for Tesla later this week.
Definitely a complete and utter total coincidence.
And Dan, I'm wondering if you expect this probe and this announcement to really impact the recruiting effort that Tesla was trying to put together on that date as it relates to their AI efforts.
Yeah, and in terms of the AI Day coming up later this week, I think it just speaks more to Tesla being focused on software and services, right? I mean, that's a big part of the differentiation, also a big part of the margin and accretion, the model. When you think about the growth over the coming years, I don't think it necessarily impacts that, but I think it does show they're trying to juggle a lot of balls at the same time. And they need to make sure that they execute flawlessly on every part. And the AI and the software piece is a big part of the broader Tesla flywheel as we look forward.
So I hope you guys and girls have enjoyed this video. I had a lot of requests to respond to this FUD around this investigation. As I said, I've got a time machine. I already know how it plays out. Non-news, no fault of Tesla's, build a bridge, get over it, there's nothing to see here. But of course, the very valuable lesson which I mentioned earlier in this video, the stock market is incredibly dumb, extremely reactionary, as we've seen Tesla stock selling off enormously on this absolutely non-event. I hope you guys and girls have been enjoying the opportunity to pick up Tesla stock while it's on a discount. Part of me is hoping that after AI Day, the analysts, the stock market, and the media are extremely disappointed with what they've seen, and Tesla stock falls even further, so we can pick it up at what's going to look like an absolute bargain in 10 years' time. Little bit of food for thought. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card, where you can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase. There's a link in the description. You can also earn up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, also linked below. And finally, don't forget your free stocks with WeBull and Stake, also linked in the description. These great offers also help out the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.